So let's talk about a little bit what we're going to do today here. So with our limit break framework, we see that the heroes that we aspire to be, the leaders that we aspire to be, have both intrinsic skills that they cultivate, what we call superpowers, and tools and techniques that they can deploy at the right time, which we'll call the items on their utility belt. So of course, you can think of superpowers as like the Force, and the utility belt as like all of Batman's amazing gadgets. And of course, as a leader or a hero, you are allowed to use both. Case in point, Wonder Woman. So let's talk about what skills and superpowers and utilities tools we would deploy in each of the stages of this limit break. So from the mission dissatisfaction to the alignment and realization to the limit break by putting in the work and sacrifice, and then finally achieving our flow state. So we're going to talk through one exemplar leader and a package of skills and tools for each of these stages. So Drew, why don't you start us out with step one here?
All right, step one, we started out with one of the best leaders that I know in movies. We're starting off with Gandalf to talk to us about leading that first step in the journey. And what Gandalf does that makes him such an incredible leader is, first and foremost, he sets a vision for flourishing. We see this in The Hobbit and this vision that he sets out for Bilbo, where he just cultivates this era of adventure. And it's aligned with this greater mission that we're going to achieve justice for the dwarves who have been constantly oppressed by this dragon Smaug. And this is going to bring a new state of flow to the universe. He sends out this beacon of a higher call, and he engages the people that he needs to come together to make it happen. And he does the same thing in The Lord of the Rings with Frodo as well. He brings a hobbit and a bunch of other characters from this universe all together on this heroic journey where each of them is going to have the opportunity to align with this vision and to, for themselves, become a hero in different ways. And he doesn't just stop there. He doesn't just stop by casting a high-level vision. He also uses a tool that we call map making. And in this world of Lord of the Rings, it's maybe a little easier to understand. The leader looks over the hill. The leader understands roughly the lay of the land. It's the job of the leader, like Gandalf, to contextualize that vision for the people who are going on this big journey together in order to be able to accomplish that mission. So to do this, we don't want to be too prescriptive. And Gandalf isn't. Gandalf doesn't tell them every single step that they need to take on every leg of the journey. In fact, what we see Gandalf doing instead is, let's just take the example of Mount Moria. Gandalf gets them in the door to Mount Moria, even though it's not the ideal way for them to pass forward. He allows them to continue to succeed when they're inside against the cave troll. And then eventually, Gandalf sacrifices himself against the Balrog, which, what does that do? It leaves the team alone without their fearless leader. Now the team is forced to adapt and grow. And in all of this, what Gandalf does is he puts guardrails as much as possible on the team's learning and helps them to understand the path that they're going to have to walk in order to be successful. But he doesn't walk it for them, and he doesn't lead them by the nose too much.
Yeah, so what I love about this one, right, is that Gandalf is obviously, in the Lord of the Rings framing, he's a very powerful character, but he doesn't have all the answers, right? At the very, from the beginning of the Lord of the Rings, like he's doesn't have this vision clear in his mind from day one. He's like, oh, that's interesting. There seems to be something going on here. I'm going to go do a whole bunch of research and figure out what's probably going on. And then once I've done the research and understand that this is the ring and this is what's happening with Sauron, okay, now I'm going to pull the team together. I'm going to say, all right, well, our high level goal is we have to do this, we have to do this big job. But our immediate goal is like, we need to get from here to Bree, and then we need to get from Bree to Rivendell, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do, right? So this is how we're going to go through this experience as leaders, right? The casting the vision, somebody has to do the work. Somebody has to look over the hill, do the research, clarify the vision, but then at least get to the point of like, this is the lay of the land, and here's the next couple practical steps that we can take in that direction, or we'll never get moving. Right, so things you can do. You can have a compelling high-level goal and refer to it constantly. And that goal doesn't have to be, we're going to, defeat Sauron by throwing the ring in the mountain of fire, right? It can be driving the world's transition to electric vehicles. You might have heard that one somewhere before, right? It can be something simple in your product, right? I want customers to be able to create an account in 2 mouse clicks. It's a crazy ambitious goal. All right, we can get there. What's it then? what's a step we could do towards that, right? What's a roadmap? What's a thing we could do today that will allow us to start chipping away at that high level goal? When you're at this stage one, when you've got a dissatisfied team that doesn't love the current state of the world, but isn't quite sure where they're going, these are the essential tools to align them with a vision and to give them a step that they can take.